Hey there, it's Candace, and welcome back to the 30,000 Foot View podcast. This is the show for the entrepreneur who is out there hustling to be a part of that 1% club or the employee looking to climb the corporate ladder. This show will help you to look at the bigger picture so that you can plant seeds today and watch them bloom tomorrow. All right, guys, let's go be great. Hey guys, what's up? It's Candace, your host of the 30,000 Foot View podcast. Welcome back to another episode. I'm so glad you guys are here. First things first, thank you all so much for the love on the first few episodes. I am completely just overwhelmed. Never imagined that you all would love my content as much as you are, and I greatly appreciate it. We have exceeded over 500 downloads in the first week. To say that I am just on cloud nine is an understatement, but so excited. Thank you guys so much for the love. You all know the drill. Make sure that you're subscribed. Keep sharing because sharing is caring. And let's spread all the love to everybody that we know. The other thing I wanted to touch on real quick before we jump into today's topic, I have been getting a lot of emails, messages, DMs, the whole nine about my workbook that I shared in the last episode about being multi-passionate. So if you are someone who's multi-passionate just like me, you've got all these thoughts and things going on in your head, you have some amazing goals that you're trying to crush this year, then you definitely need my workbook, and it is Crushing Your Goals with a Purpose. It's a workbook for the goal-driven and the self-motivated. You guys, you can get it on Amazon Prime, okay? Order it. It'll be to you in like a day or two. Super simple. You can get a physical copy off of Amazon, and you can also order a digital copy, which I will have the link to both of those, the hard copy and the digital copy in the show notes. So be sure to check that out. I greatly appreciate the support, and I know it will help you all tremendously this year in staying accountable to the goals that you're setting and hitting them all, checking them off on your list one by one. So guys, let's jump on into today's topic. As you saw from the title, we are talking about knowing when to hold and knowing when to fold. And no, we are not talking about Kenny Rogers today. Rest in peace. But I know that is everybody's favorite song. Like everybody knows that song. But I still think that the title of that song, the words are so true to everyday life, especially when you are someone who is working, whether it is in corporate America or you are an entrepreneur. I think that you have to know when you should, stay the course, and then also when it's time to just throw in the towel and move on to the next best thing. So I think that it is, first of all, a key that I introduce you all to my guest who will be sharing a story here shortly. You guys, my girlfriend, Britteni Lee, is in the house today. Say hey, y'all.
Hi.
So excited that Britteni is here, and I'm so excited that she's my first guest on this podcast. You guys, Britteni and I, our paths crossed at this point a little over a year ago. We are in the same business opportunity. We're both in the health and wellness industry, both running our own independent businesses. And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna pat us both on the back. We crushing it, girl.
Yes, we are doing all the things.
So I wanted Britteni to come on here and share her story because I think that it is a true representation of the topic for today about knowing when to hold and knowing when to fold and knowing when your goals and your dreams and your aspirations are bigger than the situation that you're currently in. So what I wanted to do is I want Britteni to kind of, introduce herself and give a little bit of backstory on where she was prior to a year and a half ago and where she is today and how she got to the point that she knew that she needed to hold or fold. You'll have to figure that out in a few minutes when she shares her story. And then what her life is like today based on the decision that she made. So Britteni, I will hand it over to you, girlfriend.
Thank you so much for having me, Candace. I feel like my story is one where people either frown upon it or they celebrate it. It's not the norm. I am a 34-year-old wife, mom. I wear multiple hats every day, all day. And I have always been a girl to pretty much work hard. I went to school, got a degree, did whole 4 years. But while I was in school, I did work for full time for Wells Fargo. Over at Wells Fargo, I did work my way up all the way to a manager position. And so that right there was my dream. It was my everything. I knew hard work. Hard work was always instilled in me from my parents. And so, I mean, it came naturally to me. My husband is one who, same thing. He's always worked really hard. And so we've had a relationship to where we kind of motivated each other all the time to always shoot higher for what we really wanted in life. And
Yeah.
so after having my kids, I was very just, I was still stuck in I had to work so hard to provide for them, right? As
Yeah.
moms, we have that mentality to where you do not stop. Your kids deserve the best.
Yep.
And when I went through all of that, I had a moment to where I said, okay, I've worked really, really hard. I've worked my way up the corporate ladder, but something was tugging at me. I didn't quite know what it was, but I knew that I needed to make a move. What was that move? I had no idea. And so our faith is one that's, our faith is unshakable in our relationship, my husband and I. We base everything off of God. We have had moments where we have moved outside of his realm, and it caused us to fall backwards. And so I prayed, and I prayed. And so after moving away from Wells Fargo, I went to a sales position, really great job, great benefits. I was able to kind of make my own schedule, traveled, everything was great from 9 to 5. But once 5 o'clock hit and I had to come home to those boys, I was drained. I was so tired. I didn't have anything left to give to my kids and to my husband. And so, with my faith being so amazing in my relationship with God, I knew that those were my blessings, right? My husband and my kids, those were my blessings that God gave to me. And I had to choose, do I allow this salary to take over what I'm trying to build? Or do I sit here and say, okay, you have a decision to make because God did not put you here to not so much slave to a 9 to 5, but just invest so much to this 9 to 5 to where you're so drained to where you can't give anything left over to what He gave you, which was those boys. And so I was in a position to where I wanted residual income. I wanted to do something on the side. I didn't know what it was. We are in this industry where social media will teach you that you have to do, hair or nails or different things like this. And I didn't have any of those trades. I was so, dedicated to my 9 to 5 into corporate America to where I didn't have any of those trainings or those skills. And so I saw a friend one day on social media and she was living her best life. And I also knew that she didn't have any of those skills that social media was like portraying that she needed to have, right? So I reached out to her and I said, hey, I'm not sure if you remember me, but we used to follow each other back in the day. I see that you are present. You are with your babies. You're able to pick them up from school and you look so happy. And I just I want to know what is it that you're doing because I knew she was not at a 9 to 5. So we had a conversation and what she told me was I share my story on social media every single day. I decided to get healthy for my family, and in return, I've helped a lot of other people do the same thing. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great, And so I looked a little bit more into it, and what one thing that stood out, she was like, I am happy. I am a happy mama, and my kids are happy to have a happy mama. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be present with my kids. I wanted to be happy. I wanted more for my family. And so, fast forward to like maybe a week or so after that conversation, I decided to join her business, which is now I have my own business, my own team, through the Lavelle brand. And so, that's really my journey over the past year and a half.
And I think that it's so crazy because I think a lot of people are scared when they have that little tug on their heart that they're scared to actually make a move. And so a lot of times they stay in a situation that no longer serves them because they're scared. And I don't know about you, but I know that you went to college, you did all of these amazing things, but I always felt like once I got out of college that society, family members just, kind of not knowing any better, but because they, in their hearts, they're doing the right thing. They're motivating you. They're wanting you to do better. But once you actually get to college and then you get out of college and you enter the real world, did you feel like college sold you a dream?
I can tell you right now, I have a degree and I have student loans that I'm paying on for a degree that I'm not even using. Um,
Right.
I seriously enrolled in college. The actual college that I chose was not the one that my parents wanted me to go to. And so I had to initially go to the school that they wanted me to go to. And it's so funny that you say that because that college was not my first choice. However, I did meet my husband there. That was
So
not my
something
first
good came out
choice.
of it.
Something good came out of it, you know. I actually graduated high school early because of my parents pushed me. And so that summer, that semester that I had open and available, they put me into the community college. They were like, okay, you're going to start early. You're going like I've always been pushed by my family members to do what they wanted me to do. And they're like Candace said, like there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to come to a point to where you have to decide what you want to do. And my first 2 years in college, I my major was nursing. You know, my godmother, she is a very well established nurse. She has her own business and everything, but those were her dreams. And I remember having to call my mom to tell her that I was changing my major. And that was the scariest thing at the time. My husband was my boyfriend, and he was like, you have to call her. He was like, why are you so scared to call your mom? I'm like, you don't understand. My family is going to go crazy when I tell them that I'm not doing what they want me to do. And so that was like my first encounter of me kind of like owning, who I am and what I really wanted to do with my life.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, no, it's crazy. And I know for me, like when I graduated college and, started my first job, like 8 to 5 hours. So of course I was working my last semester of college, but it was part-time. And then, I graduated, hit that grind 8 to 5. And I remember thinking like, I just put in some massive, hours and years of work and struggle for 4 years. Um, and I remember my last semester of college, I had 21 credit hours my last semester. I was determined. I was like, there's no way I'm going to prolong this another semester. Like, I'm getting the heck out of here. So I got approval from the dean to do 21 hours my last semester. It was a nightmare. I don't ever recommend that to anybody. But I remember being so defeated when I started my first job, and I was at a very, very reputable global company, and I was making $12 an hour.
Right.
I was like, I went
Mm-hmm.
to school for this.
Yes.
And the thing
Yes.
about it is like, I guess when I say the number, it sounds like a really long time, but in my mind, I don't feel like it was that long ago. I mean, we're talking what, 15 years ago? I mean,
Right.
that wasn't that long ago. $12 an hour. Um, and I remember thinking like, okay, like that won't even tackle like my monthly payment for my
Mm-hmm.
student loans.
Exact.
It was so
Yes.
crazy. So that was the turning point for me where I remember I told myself, I gave myself 6 months. I said, I've got 6 months to find another opportunity that better serves me, that fuels a passion of mine, and I've got to get the heck out of Dodge. Like, I've got to do it. And literally 6 months to the date that I accepted that full-time job outside of college, I found a different position. And granted, it was with a different company that I am with now, but it was in the same field. Like, that's what started my journey in the field that I'm in. And I've since then worked with a few other companies and gained more experiences and knowledge and, skill sets along the way that have better positioned me for the opportunity that I'm in now. So like Brittany was stating that, her position was no longer serving her and her family's needs and for what, the vision that they had for their family life. And so once her new business that she started got to a point that she was ready to walk away, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you just hit your 1 year of walking away from corporate America last week, right?
That is correct. That's correct. So a little bit about that. Um, So I was at my 9 to 5, guys, and I say this not to brag, but to realize that you have to stop and find your worth, right? So I was at this 9 to 5. Great job, great benefits, like I said before. And guys, I was one of the top sales reps within this company. And mind you, guys, I am in a very small town. I live in Victoria, Texas, and it's like 2 hours from Houston, 2 hours from San Antonio. So my area is very small. But we are predominantly in the oil field area. And I can tell you that that was like my hustle every single day. And for me to be able to, surpass all of these other sales reps in like these bigger areas, that meant a lot to me. I was so proud to be able to hold that title. And so a lot of us get caught up in these accolades and so in these titles, and we feel like, man, like I have to stay, right? And that was me. I told my husband, like, okay, I have my 401k. We have, a great savings. Like, we are able to do this. I just need to stay here. And I'm going to figure out a way. Some way, somehow, I'm going to figure it out. But like I told you guys before, like my faith, I prayed and I prayed and I kept saying, God, I know you created me for something more. Yes, I'm stuck in this little town, but what else can I do that's going to fulfill my purpose and then, of course, serve you? And so after prayer and meditation and everything, I realized that that job was no longer serving me. And I remember having a conversation with my manager and I said, hey, is nothing wrong with this company or what I'm doing. I just feel like I'm made for more. And they were like, okay, well, let's, send you here. Do you guys want to relocate? We can put you in this position over here. And I'm like, actually, I don't want to uproot my family again because with my husband's job, guys, we moved quite a bit whenever we first were married. And so now, we bought our home here. My kids were in school here. And I said, that's very selfish of me to uproot my entire family just for a position. And so at this time, guys, my team was growing faster than what I could ever keep up with. And I made a decision. I went to my husband and I said, hey, with this side hustle that I have, I love it. Like, it is fulfilling me to no end. I am happy. I am serving people on a different platform. I am able to reach people that I never thought that I could ever reach. And I found my voice. If you guys knew me prior to this, I was very closed off, introvert. You would see me maybe post on social media 3 times a year. And that was like for Christmas, birthdays, and that's it, right? I didn't let people in. I was one who everything was kept to myself. And I portrayed this picture as if, everything was great. Like my family was great. I was great. And in reality, guys, I was going through the motions of finding my purpose, finding my voice, finding out who I really was and what God wanted me to do. And so I went to my husband. I told him, I said, hey, I don't want to enter 2020 with this company anymore. And, of course, like my husband, he will support me with almost anything. But he was like, oh, my gosh, Britteni, like, are you sure? Like, are you really going to walk away? And I said, yeah, I am. And let me tell you guys, before I actually walked away, I did put my 2 weeks notice in. And when I did that, guys, I slept on it. And like Candace said, that fear. Within 24 hours, I went back to my manager and I said, hey, I'm sorry. I'm going to stay. Can I take that 2 weeks notice back? And so, of course, he was like, absolutely, Britteni, like, we want you to stay. And that was fear. That was like for real fear because I did not trust myself. I knew that what I had in my hands was golden, but fear crippled me to where I was so stuck on that 9 to 5 mentality because, mind you, I've been working since I was 18, but also it's not the norm for someone to walk away from a corporate job where they're making, 6 figures and they're able to travel and do all these things to fulfill a somewhat purpose, right? So you have to realize when it's time to walk away. And I knew after that, so that 2 weeks notice went in, I pulled it back, and then there was something at the job that happened, and my kids were on Christmas break, and my manager made me choose. He says, hey, are you going to come into work today, or are you going to stay home with your kids? And I said, well, today is not my office day, so I'm going to stay home with my kids. And in that moment, I knew then. That was like the sign that I was waiting for. And that was it. Like, I was so tired of choosing this job over my kids. It was Christmas break. And I normally take this time off every single year to spend with my kids. And for some reason, this time I was pressured to go into the office. And that was like the breaking point for me to where I was like, okay, this is it. I have to walk away. And that's what I did. I walked away, guys, but I walked away on my terms. And that's what felt the best for me, to know that I was able to find that inner strength to say, okay, it's time to walk away. This is no longer serving you. It's time for you to pass this on to someone else and let them take, or pick up that legacy that you're leaving behind. Let them go and be the best in this industry while you go and serve someone else. And so that was like the breaking point for me when I realized, like, okay, it's time to walk away.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot, but that is just so that to me, that kind of goes back to, like, you guys, you always have to kind of listen to your gut. Like, your gut's not going to steer you wrong. Your faith's not going to steer you wrong. And especially if you've got a partner in all this, communication is key, and both of y'all have, the same goals, the same dreams, same aspirations, and you're both working toward a common goal. And I think that kind of helps to shape what your next move is going to be, right? So, I wanted to have Britteni to come on here and share her story, because number one, I think it's truly impactful, because I think a lot of people in the world, especially a lot of people that may be listening to this show right now, I think we're all in, and I shouldn't say we, but I think a lot of people are in situations that they're going through the motions because they feel they have to. They're in a position at a job that is truly just that. They're in a job. It's not a career. It's not a passion. It's not something that they see themselves doing long term. It's not where they want to be, but they're there because it's a means to an end, right? It's helping them, pay that bill, pay that car payment, keep the roof over the head, keep the lights on, keep food on the table, but there's no joy in it. There's no wow factor. It's not anything that, I don't necessarily that you're not proud of, but it's not something you would probably recommend to your friend because you're unhappy. And I think a lot of people stay stuck because they're scared to pursue other opportunities. So, the reason I say that, I always talk every episode about, yes, I'm in corporate America. Yes, I'm a business owner. You can do both. And I think it's a smart way to do both. And just like Britteni, she started out doing both, and then she saw an opportunity to make one, her plan B, her plan A. And so if you're feeling stuck, go pursue some other opportunities. You don't have to quit your security blanket of today, right? You can still do both and build things up. And I think that, that's the path that a lot of people, should take. Nobody's telling you to go and quit your job today and then just go figure out what may stick and what may work. Plant your seeds and, tap your feet in the water and see what happens. Explore some other opportunities, ask questions, connect yourself and align yourself with people that are doing what you ultimately want to do. You don't know what you want to do? All the more reason to start connecting with new people to figure out what they do, what works for them. Explore something completely new and out of your comfort zone. I think that could really help you to figure out what is going to better serve you, serve your family, and ultimately help you reach the goals that you're trying to get to. So thank you so much for sharing that story about how, you've gotten to the place that you're at today. But one of the things that I wanted to take the time to highlight and celebrate is that, Britteni's story is really just kind of getting started. She has now taken another step, and she is expanding her personal brand, and she is launching her new company called The Good Grace Co., and which I'm so excited about. That is amazing. And I wanted her to take a few minutes and just kind of explain to you all what that is and introduce it and let you all know what to expect and how you can find it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Good Grace Co. is my baby. And I am just, let me start by saying thank you, Candace, because guys, it is so, so true. You are who you are by the 5 people that you hang around. And I can tell you that my circle is very small, but my circle is also very impactful. Okay. So I would not be able to even expand or even think about expanding my brand or who I even am if it wasn't for my circle. And so Good Grace Co. is Something that has been near and dear to my heart. It started with my grandmother. She was very involved in ministry, but my grandmother is also one she's a true introvert as well. And so, if you know my grandmother, she is very passionate about her relationship with God. She will preach the walls down and she will pray the mess out of somebody. Okay. So, that's just who she is. And I feel like she has downloaded so much wisdom within me, myself personally. And I want to pass that on. I want others to come to Good Grace Code, my Facebook page, my website. I want them to see what it is to walk this thing out with God, not just trusting in yourself, but with God. You will see a lot from me. I'm going to do Bible studies. I'm going to do journaling. I'm going to do live events, just everything that's going to bring God the glory and pretty much just expand on grace. A lot of people don't understand the power of grace. It's something that God gives us every single day, although we do not deserve it. But it's so cliche of us not to give it to other people, right? And so I want to expand on that. I am not going to put Good Grace Co. in the box. We're going to do all the things.
Yep.
We're gonna do merchandise. We're gonna do all the things. Like, I'm so here for it.
Yes.
Yes. So that's gonna be my baby. You guys are gonna see a lot from me on that. That is like my passion. Like, I love, love, love everything about God and just serving Him. And so be on the lookout, guys.
So exciting. Cannot wait. You all already know, soon as more details drop, where you can find it, all that good jazz. I will link it in all of the shows. I will be in the show notes. You all know I love to support all of my friends and everything that they do. So proud, so excited. So be on the lookout for that. And really, that's basically it for today's episode, you guys. Again, I just wanted to also bring a little different perspective to the show early on so that you all know that, there's so much more to all of this than, just my perspective. I want to bring some variety, some little flair, some pizzazz every week for you all to learn and get inspiration from. And I think Britteni is a perfect example of that. I truly, truly appreciate you. Appreciate your friendship. Appreciate your story. And thank you so much for sharing with us. And I'm sure this is not the last time you will be here, because after every accomplishment, we're going to celebrate it too. So just buckle up and get ready. But you guys, you all already know, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed. Go ahead and give this episode a heart and share it with all of your family and friends, cousins, brothers, sisters, aunties, whomever, because everybody could use a little inspiration today. And you all know that we will be back next Friday with a brand new episode. So be sure to stay tuned. If you'd like more details on the podcast, you can check it out at thebigbluedebutante.com/30,000 foot view podcast. All right, guys, we will talk to you later. Bye.